Hey guys, this will be my last basic CSS tutorial video, and because we have covered most of the basic CSS which we should know in order to play around with some CSS with HTML. In my last video I thought I could show you a table I made in about a couple minutes using only the CSS that we learned. So this is the table, and within a table we actually have what I started writing all the CSS property, the value, the HTML tag we could use, basically all the properties that we learned in our CSS video series. So to start off, we have the comment, which technically isn't a CSS property. It doesn't have a value. It works on any HTML and anything inside here. So here is a comment and will not be reflected in the code. It's very useful when you want to keep, like for example, when you're making a table, you could say this is a table for, I don't know, Harry Potter characters or something like that. Now we have the color property, which we use the value of either the name of the color, the RGB value, or the hex value. And the tags we could use this property in is, for example, the P tag, the H1 to H6, the A tag. And the description is fairly obvious, changes the color of the text. So I've got all that for text align, text decoration, and so on. And when we look at the table as a whole, now for starter, I created a background of green. So if I go to my source code on my HTML, we have a body, so it covers everything within the screen, and I changed the font size of my text to 1.3 EM. 1 EM is about 16 pixels, so it's about 25 pixels, 26 pixels, something like that. So I change everything to about that, so that the text is actually easier to see and it covers most of the screen, if not all. And I changed the background color to green, like so. Now what I did was added a border of 2 pixel solid black to the table header and the table data. So all these are there. Now I used the border collapse property to collapse the border so that there's no 2 borders in between these ones. So it's only one border, nice and clean. And I gave it a margin top of 100 pixels so that this area is 100 pixels and the table isn't right at the top, it's mostly near the middle on my screen, that is. Now for our table header, we gave it a background color of black and the font color of white, like so. And for our table data, we gave it a padding of 3 pixels, because without this, if I delete this, or I cut it for now and save it and refresh, it's a bit more clamped and difficult to read the text, which is why if I add the padding, there we go, it's much easier to read and it's more pleasant to see, in my opinion. Now, as you can see, for this, what's this table row? These rows, the row next to it, sorry, has a different color. This is called zebra table, and it makes it slightly easier to see and keep track of which row or column you are currently in, or technically row, because the adjacent row has a different color. And how I did it was, in each table row I created HTML attribute or the class selector, and I named it either odd or even, like so, in the table row tag. And then in over here we have the class.even, and we gave it a background color of this, and below it we have the .odd selector, and we gave it a background color of that, which is why it has an, what do you call it, recurring, no, It's basically like 1 2 1 2 1 2, this color, this color, this color, that color, this color, that color, and so on. Okay, what else? And I ran out of a thing to do because there was a limit to what I could do. There's no much point creating a link here and so on, so all I did was made this font weight class value bold to bold, and this font style italic text to italic, using the IDs on each. And over here we used a span class. Maybe I haven't gone over span. Span is basically just like a div, but div is when technically you're covering an area, you're selecting an area. You'll learn about the structure of a of a basic website, which uses div to say a div container, the header, the footer, the sidebar, and so on. We use that for div. And span is basically when we are trying to wrap around a specific text within like a p tag or td tag or something like that. So I wrapped the italic with a span, gave it an ID of em, and at the same time I wrapped bold with a span and gave it an ID of bold. And for our bold we did font weight bold, and for the em selector we used font style property width italic. So that's about it. Now this table looks really simple. It's only a table with a header and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 rows and 4 columns. So if we use Microsoft Word or something, it only takes about 5 minutes to do it, given that it doesn't take time to actually insert all these texts. However, with HTML it actually uses this much space, even though what the end result is quite simple stuff. So which is why in a typical web development environment, we, instead of using this style tag to put all the CSS inside the HTML document, we use the external style sheet. So link rel equals style sheet and so on, that tag. Okay, so that was a quick video on what we could do with only the knowledge from my set of tutorials, and we could do quite a bit. We made a relatively sweet looking, well, it's at least not boring table. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and that concludes my basic CSS. Just like HTML, I'm planning to do the newer version of HTML, HTML5, and the new version of CSS, which is CSS3, and also I will do an advanced tutorial series on CSS. But the next thing I will talk about is HTML and JavaScript, I think. So please look forward to that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.